Hey, I just remembered that a YouTube channel, so we're going to start off here with the cheapest Glacial Trail Chimps ever done. This handler start is so we don't freeze anything early on, because when you place towers on this map, they freeze on rounds based on when you first placed them. So we're getting our dart on round 8, which is important. This handler start actually doesn't even work anymore. In 41.0 they made Falcon $10 more expensive, so I guess you just can't do this start for some reason. Anyways, early game's pretty simple here. Go handler into dart, into corvus, into flare, just spamming nourishment the whole time. Pretty straightforward. We get artillery battery after flare, then we get ultra juggernaut. I don't think you really need to sit through 70 or so rounds of just boring nourishment spamming with way too strong of an early game and mid game. Although I do have the footage for it still, so if anyone is like, I don't know, accusing the run of being fake, I can upload the footage, so if one of you asks in the comments I will. Won't exactly be happy about it, but I can do it. So Glacial's gimmick is that when you place a tower, it's frozen on the round you place it and one round before. So like if you place it on round 6, it'll be frozen on 16 and then 15, and then 26, then 25. So we use that to our advantage. Corvus is out on rounds that start with 1 and rounds that start with 2. So we're going to need Ultra Juggernaut to solo those rounds. And the rest of our towers are built around the idea too. So Ultra Jug's out on 97, 98, 87, 88. So we need Corvus to solo those rounds, which I will be doing. Obviously we have the Alk buffs that are being out on the same rounds of the towers they're buffing. And Overdrive just for the extra single target DPS. I actually bought Overdrive on round 80, maybe you caught that. I placed it on 79, then upgraded to it on 80, and the reason I did that, or the reason I didn't buy it earlier, I guess, is because it does enough damage to break open BFBs, and that ends the rounds faster, and I need enough time to stall for nourishment. And I did that with a few other towers in mid-game too, like I didn't outbuff the ujugg until like 20 rounds after I bought Ultra Juggernaut. Anyways, pretty straightforward, these cuss chimps got Corvus. It's a pretty good Ultra Juggernaut map anyways. We got some time where Corvus is just soloing the game, so I guess I'll explain why every tower is needed. So Corvus, obviously, he solos the 90s, he's the guy who does all the damage. Ultra Juggernaut is very good for cleanup. He beats rounds like 96 easily, he's necessary for 95, and when Corvus is out on 91 and 92, Ultra Jug can cover that as well. It's the main DPS tier 5. It works very well on this map. Not in the middle section, because that's an invincibility area for some reason, but at this end part where it bounces around at the end, that works very well. So got Overdrive, because that's needed on 92, you'll see in a second here, needs the extra DPS. Overdrive is out on rounds that start with 8 and rounds that start with 9, and the reason for that is because I need Corvus to have Overload to one-shot 98, and Overdrive would pop open the BFBs, so I have less time to set up the Overload explosion. Signal Flare I think should be pretty apparent. Corvus is out on every round that starts with 1 and 2, so I need something to cover for when I can't vision those rounds. And also the start of round 95. Can't have vision up for both that and the actual DDTs. Need some sort of decamo, and Flare is just the best option. I think all of these are pretty straightforward, except for Artillery Battery. That's actually a pretty unique choice as far as these class chimps goes. And it is definitely necessary. So first thing needed for 92, this is absolutely required. I need something that can deal damage to these Moabs and something that can burst down these ZMGs. Artillery Battery works very well here. Does enough damage to get the ZMG layers off, then Ultra Juggernaut can clean it all up. It's also very needed for 95 because I need some sort of burst DPS for the DDTs at the end, because Corvus Ancestral Might does not last for the entire 95. So I need something that does damage to the fortified Moabs on 92 and the ZMGs, and that can do good burst DDT DPS. And I need something that can help with mid-game, because when Ultra Juggernaut is frozen, that means I have to Corvus solo the round, and if I'm Corvus soloing the round, that means all the mana is not going into nourishment, and I need Corvus level 20 by 98 in this run. So I need more mid-game, more 92, more 95, and I think Ultra Juggernaut is just the thing that fit best in there. I leave in a death on 94 because I'm the laziest editor alive. And it's a pretty basic run. Ultra Juggernaut's just kind of fun to look at. I mean, I'm covering it now with the Corvus menu. Wish you could actually see it. Oh, there we go. Pretty fun tower. The least cost Chimps here that I was beating was Corvus Perma Spike, which is very strong on every map in the game. Just costed a little bit too much for this map. Ultra Juggernaut does a little bit better. Very glad to see Ultra Jug get another map that's good on, even if it's just with Corvus abuse. So we're going into 96, and here I just popped the level 10 ability, and that gives you basically infinite mana, so I pop every single Corvus spell that does damage, and I have just it and Ultra Juggernaut cleaning up the round. This is actually a pretty simple round. I overload on exactly 2 of the 0 MGs so I can split the round in half, because 2 of them will pop at a time. And then Ultra Jug cleans up the rest. Pretty straightforward. This was mostly a planning-based run. I didn't have like a single round that I was stuck on for multiple hours. Although Ultra Jug does like to die a lot to rounds like 92, 95, 97, 96, 98. It'll just be super inconsistent and die for basically no reason, so I had to grind for a few hours just to get that working for a few of those rounds. I feel like it's a pretty solid run, decently optimized. I do think Artillery Battery was the correct call here, and everything else is just logical least cost Chimps gameplay. I would have just uploaded this, but honestly, I feel like it didn't hold up to the standards of the other things I've uploaded, like cheapest outs, cheapest ravine of all time was way more effortful than this, so I thought I'd post it eventually. I've had this footage for quite a while, but I also thought that this could maybe be comboed with something else, so we're going to have Erosion after I finish this. Here, 99 is pretty simple. Use Echo with hands, that cleans up the round, and then it lasts over to round 100 for enough time that does damage. And then Corvus just one-shots the round. Pretty easy run, mostly planning based. I did spend way more time actually planning the run and doing failed trials than I did on the successful run. But there we go, cheapest Glacial ever done, and because Corvus is nerfed, I severely doubt this is getting beaten. Next up we got Erosion. I actually don't even have the early game footage for this, and that's because this run is so old that it's back in, I believe, 39.0 when Total Transformation and Druid of Wrath were bugged. So, no early, no mid-game footage, although it is downdraft shove Artillery Battery Geraldo, so I feel like you could figure out how early and mid-game worked. Like, I'm not exactly doing anything optimal here. Pretty casual run. Using Artillery Battery in the cheapest of all time for the second time in this video is pretty strange. I think it's a good tower now after the +1 damage buff. Solo's a lot of mid-game because it layer skips ceramics, lead, zebras all very well. Here I'm regrow farming on 79 to set the Total Transformation bug. And in case you're wondering why Total Transformation doesn't have any other least cost Chimps right now, it's a pretty limited strategy. You have to get this entire setup done by round 79, so the map has to have a pretty easy early and mid game. And also, it's not even a free win late game. So like on Ravine, for example, you'd have to try really hard to get the set by 79. Might not even be doable without overspending. And then on rounds past 80, you'd have to still buy more. Like you have to have at least 2 Druids of Wrath, you have to have Chili on them. And this thing is 86,000 spent on Erosion, and the Ravine least cost Chimps was already 86,000, so very unlikely. I severely doubt that this even could do something like Ravine, much less something like Bloody, or even Ouch. So it's pretty map limited. I think this is the only map where it was a viable least cost Chimps option, so that's why I did it here. So late game plan here. Got my 1 Druid of Wrath. It's not at max attack speed. You can see I uploaded another video showcasing how to do this bug, and in that video the Druid is much faster. Right now it's nowhere near as fast as it can be, but I did some tests in a bunch of other failed runs for this, and even at absolute maximum attack speed, because this thing does have an attack speed limit by the way, it's not infinite, it cannot beat 98 on its own. So you have to buy something, and if you do buy basically anything, it solos every round with these, so you just have to speed bug it up a little bit. So for late game, there are 3 things that you actually have to plan around for this Druid of Wrath run. 1 is that round 90 needs DDT popping. 2 is that round 98 needs extra DPS. And around 100 also needs DDT popping. So what I go for here, which is the cheapest solution, is I get Hard Thorns on my Druid, and then I get Chilly Fire. So Hard Thorns can solve around 100, it's the cheapest option, it was 270 at the time, now it costs more. And Chilly is needed for 98 DPS. Could have also bought Thunder, but that's more expensive. This is the cheapest option to get Druid to solo the game. It's also just a really funny looking least cost Chimps, like the end screenshots here is going to have 2 towers, and also I timed it so that all the draw to items expire on around 100. So pretty goofy looking thing, but I did it just for fun. The resolution is also super fucked up because this thing lags your game a lot, or at least lags my awful laptop. So had to reduce the resolution to get the game running better. Pretty funny to look at, to see it just shred 98, 99, 100, one singular Druid. And that's round 100 done. Okay, there's 10 seconds left in this recording, and I really hope I included the share map code in this recording so I can verify that this run is legitimate.